You're listening to the Courting Happiness podcast. This is a place where self-care becomes part of your day, a space where you learn evidence-based strategies to help your life, share it with those you love, and cultivate well-being at work. I'm your host, Dr. Kortni Alston. I'm a former news director, television reporter, turned happiness scholar, TEDx speaker, and transformational trainer. I also understand hardships. While working my dream job in television, I lived a nightmare of suddenly becoming a young widow after 86 days of marriage. I became committed to learning more about resilience, healing, and happiness. This is how I discovered my area of research, which is positive psychology. Now I'm living my calling of training individuals and organizations on happiness, and my new chapter begins with being happily engaged. The Courting Happiness is about a true courtship, I like to say, commitment with happiness. The K in courting stands for the vulnerability of sharing my story, inspirational interviews with phenomenal people, the infusion of positive psychology, and so much more. You'll learn how to commit to your well-being one episode at a time. I hope you subscribe and share. So, are you ready? Let's get started. Welcome to episode 29. Thank you so much for listening. This episode, well, we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics, and we're going to talk about positive emotions. And today I had a day that really just exemplified positive emotions, and I wanted to share it with you. So positive emotions are integral to our well-being. And today I felt so heightened in terms of positive emotions, which is so ironic because I was actually facilitating a training session about positive emotions and the value of positive emotions. And it all came about because that training session was really a speaking engagement, and it was presented at an academic conference that I organized this panel and the panel was for an academic conference for broadcasters in education. And the topic of the panel presentation, the topic that I created was called Be Well and Be Seen, Educator and Student Well-Being for Virtual and In-Person Learning that Promotes Diversity and Inclusion. Yes, it is very long, but I think it's also very meaningful, right? Be well and be seen. And it's all about educator well-being, also with student well-being. And what I was so excited about, the fact that the academic conference saw value in this and decided to give it the green light, is because of the fact it was talking about both student and educator well-being. And I love the fact that I had an opportunity to share it with an incredible panel that I invited, and they said yes. And I was so super excited about this because these women that I invited on this panel are just exceptional, just amazing people in the industry, in academia, but just phenomenal humans, just beautiful human beings. So their presentations were so phenomenal. I got so super excited. I was texting them and letting them know how amazing their presentations were. Was able to call some, but we ended up having this after party. I felt like after the presentation, a virtual presentation, where we didn't leave the room. It would almost be like if we were at a conference, and normally this conference is in Las Vegas, and normally so the conference would, after a presentation, we would end up in the hallway at these conferences, and ended up taking the conversation to another room or maybe going to a restaurant. So it was interesting, the fact that it kind of still had that feel, but yet we were doing it virtually. But it was wonderful. It was wonderful. Excuse me. Their presentations were so exceptional that I was like, guys, I need to also have you on my podcast. We need to have this as a podcast episode. And so they were like, yes, let's do it. And so, guys, I'm so super excited. So you will actually have an opportunity to hear all the wonderful, evidence-based strategies and solutions and that they provided, and more and more. So I'm looking forward to sharing more of their talents with you. You've already met one of the panelists, Professor Tara Murray. She shared her expertise on this podcast discussing the value of creating purpose-driven communities. And if you haven't checked out that episode, that is episode 27, and she is incredible. She gives really great information on the value of meaningful work, and also really her passion for creating the community that she has cultivated. And she gives also wonderful advice for you to think about in terms of creating a community, being purpose driven, and also thinking about your well-being. And so I've asked her to come back. So I'm like, yay, she's coming, she's coming back with the other incredible panelists. The other one happens to be Dr. Stephanie Dean. Now, she and I co-hosted a podcast together called Thriving in Toxicity. This woman is so incredible. She is an amazing person, and she provides wonderful insight in regards to virtual reality and digital humanities and so much more. Plus, good fun fact about her, she also has has a podcast where she is talking about RV life. And she is sharing good best practices, or I should say best practices, as it relates to, the value of RVing and what to do. And so what's so interesting about our friendship is that she and I met probably, gosh, a couple of years ago at a conference, at an academic conference, introduced by the next woman that I'm going to share with you in a moment. But it's interesting. We met at a conference and we started talking after being introduced by, as the Dr. Christine Estenfelder, who I'm going to talk about in a moment. And I will say this. The moment we talked, it was almost as it was almost if we had known each other like for forever. Have you ever had that meeting with a person? You talk to them, and you're like, oh my gosh, you feel so connected. And you're like, wow, I feel like I've known you like forever. And I feel like, that it just feels so comfortable, and it feels as if you've met this incredible person, and you've just connected on so many different levels. And so she is that person. So I'm so super excited that she will also be joining in. But last but not least, Dr. Christine Estenfelder, who I just mentioned before. So she and I met at the University of Florida College of Journalism and Communication, our alma mater. Go Gators! And we were at that time, we were two PhD students who were both coming from working as television reporters in the industry. And Christine has a history of working as a television reporter and an anchor. And now here we are making this career transition as scholars. And she and I just also hit it off. But the interesting part is that we also share this incredible mentor by the name of Dr. Julie Dodd. And I will say this today, that engagement that we did the training on in terms of be well and be seen, it focused on well-being and the importance of inclusion. And I have to say, one of the things I love so dearly about our mentor, Dr. Julie Dodd, is Dr. Dodd always made me feel seen. It's one of her incredible superpowers. She listens to this podcast and she shares it, and she supports me on so many levels in terms of my career, providing advice and just incredible support. And I have amazing stories about her. And that's one of the things that Dr. Christine Estenfelder and I share, is this incredible mentor, Dr. Julie Dodd. And I keep on saying her name because one of the things that Dr. Christine and I do a lot, we go, what would Dr. Dodd do? What would Dr. Julie Dodd do? Because that's how much we admire her so much, that we always think about her in terms of our decision making. Dr. Christine, her spirit radiates. It It radiates so much that anytime she's in my presence, my energy goes up higher. If you can only imagine my energy that you hear now, because when students meet me, they go, "Are you always like this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, pretty much." Um, but it goes up even higher because of the spirit that Dr. Christine has, and the fact of she's just an incredible soul and highly empathetic, and really values inclusion as well, and just treasure her. So today, during the conference, we received a lot of great feedback, which of course that feels wonderful. I love the fact that I just checked my email and I got feedback from people who really valued the information that we shared, that so much resonated with them. And I loved being able to hear these words because one of the things that you hope when you're sharing information, especially information as relates to one's well-being, is that it really speaks to them, that it gives them the tools, the information that they need to be able to serve them. And then also that they don't feel alone, right? Have you ever felt that way? Hopefully when you're listening to this podcast, you're saying, wow, yeah, I did feel like really emotionally exhausted. Okay, this is how I'm going to, wow, okay. So here's some tools that I can utilize to really serve me. So it's always great to hear that. It's always wonderful to hear that. Um, and what was also so rewarding was sharing this experience with friends that I admire and adore. So another element of this is that these individuals are, yes, they're friends, and they are also part of my circle as relates to positive relationships. And I've talked about this in previous podcast episodes, the importance of positive relationships. I love that in positive psychology, we qualify those relationships instead of saying relationships are good for you, positive relationships. And because they are positive relationships, their presence, every one of the individuals I just mentioned, from Dr. Christine to Dr. Stephanie to Professor Tira Murray, all of these incredible women, they increase my positive emotions because of their presence, because of how they are in terms of their character strengths, because of how they are in regards to our friendship, in terms of being incredible supporters, active listeners, highly empathetic, and just great people. So, see, the presentation for me was so meaningful because of the message and the power of the positive people in my life that I could share it with. So during training today, I talked about, in terms of increasing positive emotions, is also thinking about meaningful experiences. And this was a meaningful experience. This was a wonderful example as a meaningful experience for me because of the fact that here I am doing the work that I love. I love being able to share positive psychology with audiences. And then I was doing it today with women that are friends who I just greatly admire. I just greatly admire and adore them. And they shared such great information in regards to their expertise that I am so looking forward to being able to share it with you. So this, I hope, I hope you feel that way about the people in your life. I hope you are filling your cup with positive people who are pouring into you. I talked about the mentor who told me that I must give from my saucer and not my cup. See, those individuals are wonderful examples of people who are doing just that. You know, they continually pour into my cup. We pour into each other's cup. And we talked about the value of being a part of each other's self-care squad today. And so I hope that you're thinking about some of those positive people in your life and thinking about how you are pouring in to each other. I also want you to think about not only who does this for you, but then also thinking about um, where and other resources that can serve you. And this is this is my transition in terms of the fact that last I believe last episode I made the announcement of the fact that the Courting Happiness membership is officially, well, the wait list is officially open. So the wait list is now open. And I share that because the Courting Happiness membership is all about creating and cultivating a positive environment for you, surrounded by positive relationships that will also serve you. And so the site is really a dream come true for me. And it's all about leveling up your well-being. So the Courting Happiness membership will help you live a happier life. You will have access to exclusive content. Your self-care routine, I tell you, your self-care routine is going to look at you if a self-care routine could look at you. I'm just joking, but your self-care routine will thank you for choosing you, choosing your well-being, choosing really, your commitment to your happiness goals, from learning more about well-being to meaning and even purpose. So what makes this site different than any other well-being membership site is that it's fueled by science, it's fueled by positive psychology. The membership community has 3 features: coaching, courses, and community. The coaching will be in terms of a group coaching where I will share live coaching workshops, and I will call on members to take part as well. Courses will also be part of that dynamic. Members will have access to courses, and founding members will have an opportunity to really help customize this experience as well. Community is also a big part of it, as I shared earlier, in terms of positive community. So just like this podcast, this community is really about working to support each other and serving as cheerleaders for each other as well. And the membership, in terms of the wait list, is open for founding members. And being a founder has its advantages because you'll grow in terms of your knowledge base and work directly with me, gaining more knowledge in regards to positive psychology, and really have an opportunity to give feedback to strengthen the community. And like I said, this is truly a dream come true for me. I had a vision of creating the ultimate self-care squad to help you and your well-being. And I hope you join the wait list, because I'm looking forward to building this and I'm looking forward to sharing it with you. I will say this: seats will be limited to founding members. So if you want to take part in this, please make sure that you join the wait list so you'll be the first, because I certainly don't want you to miss an opportunity in regards to being a part of this, because doors will open and then they will close at a certain point. But right now, the wait list for enrollment has begun. So definitely make sure you get on the wait list so you know when the doors are open. You can go to drkortnialston.com/waitlist, and that's DRKORTNIALSTON/waitlist. I will continue to share more details in terms of future podcasts, but I just want to make sure that you join the wait list so you'll be the first to know when the doors open and enrollment begins. Guys, I hope you feel inspired in terms of listening to the value of really thinking about positive emotions and the importance of positive relationships, and also what that looks like for you. because I will always want anyone that's listening to this podcast, and I treasure the fact that we have such a global audience now. And I see so many different countries that are listening to our podcast. This is our podcast, and it's all about sharing information that's going to empower you in regards to your well-being. Let's continue this conversation online. Join us on Instagram at Courting Happiness. Don't forget that's courting with a K. Also, I hope you join our private group on Facebook. You can find us at Courting Happiness Podcast Community. Our private Facebook community is a safe haven to share, meet more people looking to build positive relationships, focus on well-being, and create a happier life. Now, are you ready to spread happiness? I hope you are, and I hope you share it with your family, friends, co-workers, and all the important people in your world. We release a new episode every Thursday. Congratulations on your continued commitment to your courting happiness journey. Thank you so much for listening. We want you to be well, be happier, and be kinder to yourself. We can't wait to see you next week.